Hello there, Honorary Knight and the Helper in White.
It's so nice to meet you, Honorary Knight and Lady Paimon. Glenfidia, at your service.
Looks like you're in a good mood, Hertha. And nice to meet you, Glenfidia. By the looks of things, you're about ready to open?
Indeed. Thanks to some help from the Angel's Share and the Cat's Tail, our drink stand is ready to go. Besides all the classics, we also mix cocktails to order, and are currently offering a limited-time delivery service.
Cocktails? Do you remember that time we served as bartenders at the Angel's Share? And recently, you've also shown off your skills at the flagship in Nocrai. We sure have come a long way, huh?
Wow, that really was a long time ago.
The only thing is, our current drink selection is quite traditional, and it stopped feeling fresh long before the expedition began. To offer everyone some more exciting choices, we're planning to revamp our menu. But I need to get back to handling resident requests, and Glenfidia doesn't have much experience mixing drinks. Plus, we've got a whole bunch of outstanding delivery orders on hand. Honorary Knight, if you're free, could you maybe help us out for a while, just until my other squad gets back from the Stormbearer Mountains?
You'll be amply compensated, of course, plus double pay for overtime, depending on your performance metrics.
You can leave the whole bar in my hands.
Paimon's not sure what performance metrics are, but she's happy to help with deliveries. As the best guide into that, Paimon needs to keep up with the changing times. Besides, this'll give her the chance to explore the city and stay up to date with all the recent goings-on.
Working with you two is always such a breeze.
I'll do my best to support Lady Paimon in any way I can. I'm very skilled when it comes to things like portioning out drinks.
All right. Well, if you're ready to, then let's get to work.
Oh my, it looks like Hertha has gone back to her duties, and Glenfidia is away somewhere too. Has our dear cutie taken complete charge of the drink stand? Wonderful. Now I can order without worrying about ending up with one of the logistics company's specials. The type of drink that keeps you awake all night, leaving you no choice but to pass the time working. That's right, I'm just a carefree librarian now. If only there weren't so many people with overdue books, and I didn't have to go door to door to get them back. I would have dropped by to chat with you sooner, and try out your delightful creations, of course. Let me think. I don't really have a favorite drink. Just wrestle me up something rejuvenating that'll lift my spirits. And if it could help me nod off to sleep later, that would be even better.
Here's a snow-kissed dawn. I hope you like it.
It's delicious, cutie. Pleasantly tart, sweet, but not cloying, smooth on the palate, with a refreshing aftertaste. If anything, though, I seem to be feeling a little more energetic than I'd like. Perhaps you've unwittingly unraveled Glenfiddia's secret and concocted an even more effective pick-me-up? Don't worry, there's no rush. Your eyes are aglow with curiosity, as though you have many more questions to ask. Let's chat for a while. Take your time. Inspiration will come soon enough. Since you're asking, it's been a bit of an unusual day. There's a chef, fresh out of training in Fontaine, who's recently taken up a position at the Goth Grand Hotel. She borrowed our most valuable book, the Mondstadt Millennial Compendium of Desserts. Apparently, she plans to use dessert-making techniques to improve the taste of various savory dishes. Something about reducing their greasiness. Indeed, and judging by the results, she rather overdid it with the caramel sauce. What should have been fragrant meat slices ended up tasting nauseatingly sweet. Caramel sauce is such a fantastic ingredient, you know? It never fails to please when added to drinks. Sometimes I even add a spoonful to my afternoon tea. Improving food, I suppose, isn't always about being as creative as possible. Oh, this? That was for another of today's little errands. A large contingent of the expedition team will be returning to Mondstadt soon. They've been away for such a long time, so there's a good chance many of their tastes have changed. Jean asked me to visit some of their families to try and get a better understanding of what new ingredients might satisfy our knights' changing preferences. Well, they've all devoted their blood, sweat, and time to protecting Mondstadt. They deserve some care and respect in return. Based on what I gathered, the most requested ingredient was cacahuatl from Natlan. It seems like our knights have developed a taste for cocoa. In their letters, many of them mention that they rely on cocoa to keep themselves energized. I've tried hot cocoa myself, and I must say, I find it just as effective as coffee when it comes to staying alert. Surely you're not suggesting I'd take this opportunity to sneak off on a little countryside wander? You caught me. My investigations into Mondstadt's lesser-known drinks took me to Dawn Winery, where I had a little chat with the head housemaid, Adelind. On my way back, I ran into Emmetall out on patrol. She'd encountered some monsters she didn't know how to deal with, and in her desperation, asked for my help. I accompanied her on a detour to Wolvendom to teach some raving hounds a lesson. It's been a while since I've had such an invigorating workout. Lately? So careful with your wording, cutie. Is that because you think that I, too, might have changed since we last met? Or simply because you can't remember? Not bad at all. A flawless answer. Back in my student days, I might have been drawn to every new and exciting ingredient I read about, constantly expanding my horizons and stepping out of my comfort zone. But now, I've grown accustomed to a life of comfort and routine. To paraphrase a certain Leowed legal expert, my life is fast approaching a state of living out one's golden years in peace and comfort. I'm no longer so easily moved by adventure and excitement. I'm sure you remember, a few years ago, when we were adventuring together, you found me that sweet-tasting alchemical ingredient. Well, my tastes haven't changed a bit since then. As expected, cutie, your brilliant mind has grown even sharper. Just a few gentle hints were all you needed to light that special spark of inspiration.
Finished. A new creation, custom made for you. This should help you fall asleep quickly and guarantee you peaceful dreams. It's called a slumbering rose.
From the colors to the choice of glass, everything's been carefully crafted. You've turned it into a completely different drink. Based purely on appearance, it's exactly my style. Time to see how it tastes. Full marks. It's like savoring an exquisite dessert before taking a stroll along the shore of Cider Lake, with a gentle breeze caressing your skin, relaxed and at ease. I no longer feel drained of energy, but neither am I overstimulated. I'm actually starting to feel a little sleepy. As a bedtime drink, this is pure perfection. So good, in fact, that I feel like writing an article to extol the virtues of this slumbering rose. I can use it as an opportunity to crown you the new maestro of mixology. Speaking of lakeside strolls, why don't you join me next time there's a clear, warm day, when the sun is bright but not too harsh? Any walk would be more relaxing with you to talk to along the way, cutie. Then, when we get back, you could fix me up another glass of slumbering rose. And I'll make just as sure to hold you to that. When the time comes, I won't accept any excuses.
Good afternoon, traveler. I didn't expect the honor of witnessing your harmonizing talents here in Mondstadt. Both, actually. A lady calling herself a mage asked me to come manage her flower shop. At about the same time, the Cat's Tail commissioned me to create a new fragrance for their establishment. Ending today's busy schedule with a drink crafted by you in person is truly a wonderful reward. I have faith in your choice.
Care to give this a try, Miss Emily?
Your artistry is truly a pleasure to watch. This tastes like a local variant of a Lumideuse Twilight. Am I right? The gentle and elegant taste, with its distinct layers combined with a hint of Mondstadt's characteristic scent, offers quite a welcoming flavor, all the while avoiding potentially discordant aromas. Though in reality, there's no need for you to be so conservative. I have quite a high tolerance for flavors that stray outside the boundaries of conventional wisdom. Your drink was nice, but it would be perfect if you could make one with a little more depth. A cocktail that shows off your unique understanding and enhances my impression of Mondstadt. If you need time to mull things over, perhaps you might find inspiration in a little light conversation? Oh, thank you for asking. It's been going well, though this trip to Mondstadt has presented some unexpected challenges. When I first got here, I was relying on a copy of An Overview of Aromatic Substances and the Human Senses to identify promising local ingredients from the Mondstadt region. To my surprise, my trial fragrance, which used valberry as the primary note, proved far too sweet in the context of a tavern, relaxing people so much that they ended up feeling drowsy. The bartender with the beautiful ears, for instance, fell asleep right at the bar. Let's just say that sweetness isn't always a case of the more the merrier. Maintaining an appropriate balance is beneficial for both body and mind. Even in daily life, I rarely eat sweet food, and I try to avoid fruits like berries that have a high sugar content. In the end, I completely eliminated valberry as an ingredient and turned instead to windwheel aster, with some success, I might add. They're part of my reward from the flower shop owner. Important ingredients for making perfumes. Thanks to these, I was able to complete my commission for the cat's tail. I studied Mondstadt's Cecilia flowers many years ago. In fact, the fragrance of Cecilia in certain fields has become synonymous with Mondstadt itself. However, this is a special case. Some cats are quite averse to the scent of Cecilia, and we need to be particularly mindful of their preferences. Windwheel aster. The various parts of the windwheel aster plant can be ground into a powder to extract their essences. I then blended the scents from its petals and leaves. The result carries the intoxicating sweetness of mead, while still emphasizing the fresh notes contained within the flower's stems and leaves. I just took it for a little trial run at the cat's tail, and the cats seemed to really like it, while the clients themselves found it comforting and invigorating. Extracting exquisite fragrances from ordinary overlooked ingredients, oh, that's what truly brings me joy. It really is. A while earlier, I watched a whole run of fair weather clouds float by, fluffy as pillows. It's not overly humid either, and the wind is gentle too. In such conditions, one's sense of smell is heightened, but not to an excessive degree. When scents are blended well, they naturally combine with the ambient context, leaving particularly powerful impressions. It seems something similar is true for mixology. As long as you choose a base of appropriate strength, the various flavors will blend seamlessly together. When mixed properly, all the ingredients work as one to create a most wonderful symphony for your taste buds. Yes, that's it. Now I think about it, layering distinct flavors doesn't really suit my personal preferences. Usually, after work, my friends from the Maison Gardiennage sometimes treat me to a few drinks. I usually stick to fruit tea. That way I can get straight back to work after our gatherings. If it's before a holiday and my friends are in high spirits, I sometimes order a small glass of sparkling fruit wine. There was an officer named Terena who used to treat me to aged Corte wine. But since she was transferred to the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol, we haven't had the chance. In the world of science, high-proof alcohol is a widely used solvent. I've grown well accustomed to the smell of it by now. Besides, when I'm slightly tipsy, my state of mind changes, which in turn alters my approach to perfumes. It doesn't matter if the result is good or bad, it's all about trying something new. So I don't mind drinks with just a little bit of alcohol, but I don't like anything too strong. Just from our brief chat, you've already formulated a new concoction. Perhaps you possess a natural talent for this kind of creative work.
Here you go. A new and improved Emily-inspired Lumidews Twilight. I haven't come up with a name for it yet.
The colors are cooler and more refreshing, and the fragrance is delightfully subtle to match. Are these bright specks on the surface the crushed petals and leaves of windwheel asters? I'm sure it must taste wonderful. Let me try. In the language of flowers, the windwheel aster represents the visible winds. Your cocktail not only captures their form, but also the fragrance they carry. Therefore, I suggest you call this drink Windborne Bouquet. The winds and clouds of Mondstadt swirl together in the glass, leaving behind enchanting traces of fragrance. Really? Oh, perhaps it's just a habit of my profession. I'm glad you like it. Now it's time to slowly savor this masterpiece. Thank you so much. This trip to Mondstadt has been so rewarding. This is the most memorable cocktail I've ever had. Once I get back to Fontaine, I will attempt to recreate this moment as both a fragrance and a perfume. Once I've perfected the recipes, I hope you'll do me the honor of being the first customer to experience these new products. Until then, I look forward to seeing you in the Court of Fontaine.
So you're looking after the drink stand now. If I'd known sooner, I would have stopped by this morning. I've got to say, I'm getting curious. I've heard a lot about your mixology skills. I wonder what kinds of drinks you can mix with the ingredients Glenfiddia has prepared. I don't have much of a choice. It's just one thing after another right now. First off, the Knights of Favonius annual combat assessment is coming up. And this year, the standards are higher than ever. As the captain of the reconnaissance company, I have to lead by example. At the very least, I need to rank as one of the top 3 captains in the practical portion. So, I've been intensifying my training lately. Being a descendant of sinners means I have to work hard to maintain my position. I'll have you know I've never once neglected my duties. Anyway, on top of all that, my duel with Miss Clorand required a lot of focus and energy. Learning how to turn defense into attack and seize the initiative when facing a combined assault from sword and musket. Even now, I'm still chewing through the details. But in the end, the exchange went well, and both parties learned a great deal. Never mind writing reports from 6 different perspectives. I feel like there's enough worth mentioning to write 24 of the things. Oh, I sure could. Anything that'll perk me up would be welcome. I'll leave the details to you.
One twinkling starlight for Captain Eula. Hope you like it.
Judging by your confident tone, I'm certain I will. Well then, I'll make sure to savor this thoroughly. Huh, not bad. Sweet and tingly, with a delightful airiness. The fizzy water really brings it to life. I suddenly feel full of vim and vigor. But just one glass doesn't quite scratch the itch. How about something with a bit more bite? Don't hold back. You don't need to worry about putting me on the floor with nothing but a couple of drinks. Works for me. The first company hasn't assigned me any paperwork for tonight, so I'm free to catch up and try your new creations at my leisure. That's right. The merchant I got it from called it Romaritime flower fruit extract. It has a very unique smell. Here, have a bottle. Oh, it's a necessary courtesy. In that book Miss Magistus lent me, The Blade Dancer, 20 years on, it says, after a duel, a Fontanian swordsman will politely invite their defeated opponents to a banquet. To properly play host to Miss Clorand, I searched for quite some time to locate a rare goods merchant in Dorman Port who sold this juice. I had my doubts at first, too. But Amber said something that makes a lot of sense. She said that even if this custom doesn't really exist, following it still shows I've made an effort to understand Fontaine's cultural heritage. Besides, who doesn't like trying new things, right? When I gave it to her at our post-training banquet, Miss Clorand really did enjoy this juice. Yes, I have. For a while, the situation there was difficult. A gang of outlaw engineers was messing about with some sort of mechanism control technology, attempting to manipulate ruin graders so they could rob merchant caravans. To make matters worse, several veteran knights who had been stationed at Dorman Port were transferred to my squad, and they weren't happy to be taking orders from that Lawrence girl. Leading them on this mission was quite eventful. It took 3 weeks of stealth operations in the snow, with no fires to keep us warm, before we finally located the enemy's stronghold. Those veteran knights faced the bitter cold and were almost taken down by the enemy's smuggled battle mechs. Fortunately, the battle went our way, and they had no choice but to acknowledge my abilities. Me? I'm completely fine. But thank you for your concern. It was mentally tiring for sure, but fortunately, the operation wore them down far more than it did me. They won't be questioning my authority again anytime soon. If any new recruits try to make my life difficult, I'll just have my veterans give them a few friendly pointers. I guess you could call them a permanent solution, huh? If you want to know what I've been eating recently, I'd better start by mentioning the logistics company's latest revolution. They launched a diet improvement initiative and started distributing a form of standardized canned food to knights operating in the wilderness. In the past, we only had dry rations. Every mealtime we had to set up pots and campfires, roll dice to choose a cook, and take turns standing guard. In all honesty, it was a bit of a hassle. Now we just need to bring our standard field rations, comprising of 5 cans and 9 paper packages. We can heat the cans by the campfire, and then we're ready to eat. You did say, sounds like, right? Our canned food supplier has quite the stellar reputation, and their regular meals are indeed quite good. The problem is, in order to meet preservation standards, they have to make their military-grade meals way too salty. The vice captain of the 5th Company, who has a somewhat dry sense of humor, went so far as to say, this food's bad enough to bring down the wrath of Li Yue's stove god. In any case, after eating it for a week, my taste buds have gone completely numb. You can hardly blame the logistics company. After all, it is hard to please everyone. Our feedback has already been submitted, and they should be working on fixing the issue. Of course, having fresh meals prepared in camp by a dedicated company chef is still the best option. Oh my. To be honest, before we crossed swords, I was feeling eager, but also a little nervous. Miss Clorand's combat style comes from the mysterious Marechaussee hunters. In the library, there are some old Fontanian newspapers from hundreds of years ago that give some idea of how formidable an organization it was. A more recent newspaper claimed that Miss Clorand was an orphan from an underwater kingdom, and that before battle she would perform rituals inviting spirits to possess her sword. Certainly, from my own experiences, Miss Clorand's abilities more than match those descriptions. Incorporating elements of swordsmanship into a drink? Huh. Certainly a creative idea, I'll give you that. A commemorative cocktail at a time like this sounds nice, but how do you plan to express something like swordsmanship with a drink? That definitely matches the description I read in that book. That's right. You really know your stuff. I doubt there's anyone else in all of Tevat who could come up with such a perfect metaphor. There's no need to make it sound so fancy. It's just an aristocratic variant of Favonius bladework, with a bit of personal flair. Firewater. In recent years, firewaters gained popularity the world over, following in the wake of prosperous Snezhnayan merchants. These days, almost every tavern has a signature drink that uses it as a base. You really are good. Why don't we try replacing the fruit wine with firewater? As for the alcohol content, that's not a problem. Plenty of the expedition team may have drunk themselves senseless with firewater. But me, I'm full of confidence. Brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing how you do.
Here's your all-new Seafoam Sword Song, mixed to meet your personal preferences.
Oh my, what beautiful colors! And you even added my Romaritime flower fruit extract. The aroma is perfect, and I can smell the alcohol, but it doesn't stifle the fruity fragrance. Let's see how it tastes. Give me a moment to come up with the right words. I need to think carefully. I know it's unbecoming of a lady, and a proper connoisseur would savor their drink slowly. But I'm sorry, this is just too good to be true. Can you mix me another? Ah. Oh, no, what was I going to say? I've completely lost my train of thought. Whatever. I feel fantastic. This cocktail. Oh, it's the best I've ever had. I think I'm gonna head home and get some sleep. Don't worry about me. This is the happiest tipsy I've been in years. I'm still far from being drunk. By the time I've written up those reports for my exchange with Miss Clarend, I'll have been on duty for 3 months straight. Jean, the acting grandmaster. Isn't it about time she gave me some time off? I won't be forgetting this injustice in a hurry. You mark my words.
Suspicion confirmed. While patrolling the area, I was sure I'd sensed a familiar presence, so I came over to take a look. And sure enough, here you are. If Miss Charlotte were to see you like this, I'm guessing she'd take 100 pictures and write up a report. Sword-wielding traveler's secret side hustle. Exclusive cocktails from Tevat's Explorer Extraordinaire. You'd make the front pages of every major newspaper. And there'd be crowds of Fontanian tourists flocking to your drink stand, causing gridlock on the streets of Mondstadt. Luckily for you, I turned down Miss Charlotte's request to accompany me here, so you're unlikely to be seeing any scenes like that. Let's quietly celebrate this moment of peace. And on that note, I'd like a caramel blaze. That look on your face tells me you have a lot of questions you want to ask. Calm and effortless. I'm shocked to learn you're a real pro at this sort of thing.
Your caramel blaze is ready. Try not to drink it all in one go.
It sure lives up to its name. The color reminds me of a raging fire, while that aroma really hits you head on. It's quite strong. I'm all right. I just need a little time to get used to it. As I recall, the last time I drank alcohol was at a wine tasting event that Navia invited me to last year. I only had a small sip of Sassica wine, and it was nowhere near as strong as this concoction of yours. From a purely rational perspective, alcohol can cause dizziness and impair one's ability to work, so it's best avoided altogether. But when Miss Farina saw me off at the docks, she mentioned that Mondstadt is the land of wine and poetry. Since I'm here, I thought I should at least try the local specialties. In fact, Captain Eula, whom I sparred with earlier, has quite the refined taste for fine wine. She even gifted me a bottle of Romaritime flower fruit extract, which is no longer produced in Fontaine, and can now only be found overseas. Out of the utmost respect for her skills, I feel compelled to deepen my knowledge of Mondstadt's wines. I truly appreciate all the trouble you're going to. Huh? Does that mean she's already finished her commission? Well, she's certainly efficient. Once I return to Fontaine, perhaps I can let Sigewin know that I'd be happy to purchase her latest perfume. I'm not sure I'd say that. On my way to Mondstadt, we happened to take the same boat. Naturally, we got to chatting. I've often heard Sigewin praise her work. After conversing with her on the journey over, I must say, she is indeed a rare and refined individual. She's gentle and composed, yet keeps others at a distance. Perhaps it's due to her profession. I find this approach ideal. It allows one to maintain a lasting sense of inner peace. Oh, thank you, but there's really no need to set anything up. Our work rarely intersects, and our social circles hardly make for a Venn diagram, if you know what I mean. Best to just let things take their natural course. When I'm working, I often drink coffee. But with meals, I prefer a lighter tasting drink, like Buell fruit juice. Since I eat a lot of meat, the slight acidity of the juice helps balance out the greasiness. Over time, I've grown accustomed to the sour taste. After the swordsmanship exchange, the Knights of Favonius rather kindly treated me to some traditional Mondstadt cuisine. I had 8 different meat dishes, and all of them were excellent. The portions were huge, and only the highest quality cuts were used. Everything was cooked to absolute perfection. Of course, there was still room for improvement. When catering to tourists, the sticky honey roast and pile 'em up might benefit from a slightly lighter sauce. I've certainly tried all the red meat dishes. I think I've had enough calories to sustain 3 days of vigorous work, so I've had to decline all subsequent dining invitations. To be honest, I can still taste the grease. There must be a way to cleanse my palate. I've seen a little. I took a stroll around the city the first day I got here. Navia's done some rather extensive research on this place. Many of the scenes and illustrations for the tabletop troupe were inspired by views of Mondstadt. However, the way she describes the atmosphere in her world building is quite different from the real Mondstadt. The deepest impression I've got since arriving here is one of swords and shields. Perhaps because I've mostly just visited the blacksmith and the training grounds. Recently, the newer weapons and armor produced in Mondstadt have been created using a completely different heat treatment process from those in Fontaine, with a higher carbon content in the surface layer. While this has slightly reduced their overall toughness, their impact resistance has greatly improved. These newer weapons give off a smell like overbrewed coffee.
Perhaps it's because that scent gave me such a positive first impression. You see, Fontaine's signature metalwork is often coated with a protective agent that contains Marcotte. Over time, the faint fragrance becomes overly sweet. And for some reason, it makes my teeth feel funny. I don't imagine the scent of Mondstadt's swords and shields would cause the same level of irritation. Of course, there is a solution to this problem. The next time you find yourself in Fontaine, there's another protective agent I can recommend. One that's as neutral as water, without any excess fragrance. If you also dislike being bombarded with sweetness, this protective agent should suit you well. Indeed it is. The knights codenamed Hazelnut 3 and Hazelnut 5 gave me this crest. I must say, it's exquisite. They told me the design has only just been finalized. Apparently, it's only presented to important guests. They said they're making a badge for you, too, but it hasn't been finished yet. You're not wrong. I guess it's similar to how I can't remember the name of every clerk in the Palais Mermonia. But I'm certain you'll get to know them in time. They're clearly seasoned veterans. Even though they work desk jobs, they still turn up in full armor. After handling my affairs, they headed to the tavern for a gathering, saying they wanted to continue last night's duel and determine who had the highest alcohol tolerance. Drinking barrels of beer the night before, yet being able to work with clear minds the next day. Whew. So what you're saying is, while Mondstadters may seem carefree, they actually have an admirable ability to know their limits when it comes to drinking. Are you already planning the details of our hypothetical get-together? Based on my previous experiences with alcohol, I'd guess my tolerance is similar to Emily's. Fruit liqueur is probably my limit. So when the time comes, I think you'd be best off mixing similar drinks for the both of us. All right, I'll make sure I'm mentally prepared. Even if it's still a bit strong, I'll do my best to finish it.
All right, this new creation is called Leisure Time Lightning, a cocktail made exclusively for champion duelists. Enjoy!
Have you added fruit wine? It tastes wonderful. This is ideal for me. There's a subtle saltiness that combines well with the tartness of the fruit and the sweetness of the caramel. Each sip balances delicately on the edge of perfection. The color of the wine also fits well with the name, and the lightning imagery contrasts with the fiery nature of the caramel glaze. But where does the leisure time part come in? I see. That certainly matches the impression this cocktail gives me. Its unique aroma and taste will hold a special place in my memories of Mondstadt. Do you think, if the chance were to present itself, you'd be interested in mixing drinks somewhere else? A cafe, for instance, or the Hotel de Boer? Mostly for Navia and Miss Farina's sake. Though obviously I'd be more than happy to try more of your masterpieces myself. I understand. I won't try to strong-arm you. In any case, I truly appreciate your hospitality. Thanks to you, whether I'm summarizing the key lessons from my exchange with Miss Eula, or discussing strategy with the Knights of Favonius, I'll be in my best condition.
Huh? Is that Miss Honorary Knight? Yippee! It's you! Auntie Eula told Klee that Miss Hertha had found someone amazing to help out. Seeing you here, Miss Honorary Knight, Klee knows this must be the best drink stand in all of Teyvat. You mean this stand isn't already the best? Well, out of all the drink stands Klee's ever visited, Miss Honorary Knight's is easily the best. And no matter what drinks Miss Honorary Knight makes, Klee will definitely think they're yummy. Oh, you want me to be mean? But Klee could never be mean to you. Let me think. I know! I'll pretend to be Albedo! Whenever Albedo reviews Timaeus' work, his face goes super serious, and Klee can hear every word he says. Get ready for Klee's super amazing order! These past few days, I've been having such a blast with Mom all day long! It's been so much fun! Even being sent to solitary confinement couldn't wipe the smile off my face. So, Klee wants to order a fair weather frolic. Anything like a bright sunny day will definitely put Klee in a super duper mood. I wonder what it'll taste like.
Your fair weather frolic is here. Go on, give it a try.
Wow! So, a fair weather frolic is this color? Purple sky. Is it supposed to be a bright, shiny night? Clee will take a sip first. Then you can think about it more carefully. Ah, finished! Yummy! Both sweet and sour. If Clee drank this while eating grilled fish, I could definitely gobble down 2, or 3, or 4, or even 5! But one drink isn't enough. Clee wants to try a drink that tastes like cake. Clee doesn't know what drink to choose. Why don't we decide together, Miss Honorary Knight? Three square meals? Clee often eats 5 meals a day, sometimes even 7. Adventuring takes a lot of energy, and if I eat too much at once, I can't run so well. So, it's better to eat lots of smaller meals. Albedo used to prepare all Clee's meals, and my lunchbox was always arranged so neatly, just like a pretty painting. When Albedo's busy at Dragonspine, Clee goes to eat with the other Knights of Favonius. Kaya's camp is usually the neatest, while Amber sometimes camps in the trees. It's so much fun. Oh, and Auntie Hertha makes the best food. When my mom comes back, there'll be even more yummy food to eat. There's this one dish where she takes loads of different fish and makes them into little pudding cubes. It's called Rainbow Fish Jelly. Her Chocogo Crunchy Slices are fantastic too. It's her newest creation made with chocolate and cookies. They're a little bitter, but they're crunchy. They smell scrumptious, and they have a really sweet aftertaste. Whenever I eat them, I feel so full of energy. Next time, Clee will have to bring some for you to try. Yeah, when Clee gets back home, I'm gonna eat some salted nuts while reading my book. Clee used to eat cake after dinner, but Master Jean said it's too sugary, and it's not good to eat sugary things before bed. Apparently, it makes you chubby and gives you toothaches. So, Mom got some advice from Auntie Barbie, and now she gives me nuts instead. She says they help my brain remember things better. Nuts don't have much flavor. It's like chewing on grass, but they're okay if you add a little salt. Yeah, Mom gave me an amazing book recently. She said I have to read one chapter every night, learn something useful, and then go to bed early. That book taught Clee how to make something called propellant. Now Jumpy Dumpty can go and bounce even higher. It's not hard at all. In fact, it's a lot like making bombs. You just have to be careful when trimming it down. It's like sharpening a pencil that could suddenly go boom. Bedtime's an important part of Clee's schedule, too. Mom sits by my side and tells me all kinds of wonderful stories. She has a lamp made of gemstones, and when she turns it on, it goes kabling and lights up the ceiling. Yeah, when something happens in the story, the lights on the ceiling make pretty pictures. Sometimes Mom falls asleep before the story ends, so Clee has to tuck her in instead. As soon as Clee learns how to use the lamp, I can come tell you stories, Miss Honorary Knight. Clee has memorized so many wonderful stories, enough to make everyone happy every day. This stuff? Mom taught me how to make it using the alchemy bench. A dash of sugar, then a lot more sugar, Then some flowers from Mom's friend in Fontaine, star honey from Auntie Barbie, and finally, some magical jam from Auntie Tavia. Put everything together on the alchemy table, wish for the shape you want, then recite Mom's incantation, and poof! Dodoko-shaped candy! Klee can give you some Dodoko candy too if you want. And if you really like them, I can even teach you my mom's incantation. That way, you could make your own candy whenever you want. If you get stuck, remember to come ask Klee. When it comes to magical candy, I'm an expert. Oh yeah, Klee still wants to eat sweet things, like cake, for example. Maybe we could just go easy on the cream? Or add more fruit? Oh, right! That friend of Mom's who's always wearing glasses gave her a big bag of Fontanian Buell fruit. They're so round and rolly. Klee ate a whole bunch of those, and they were super sweet. But Master Jean said it was okay, because sweet fruit isn't the same as sweet sugar. So if Klee really has to eat nuts, maybe I can just soak them in some fruit juice first? Yeah, that was quick. Klee's looking forward to finding out how tasty your next concoction is.
Ta-da! It's done! I just know you're gonna love this new creation.
Wow! There's Dodoko candy on top! There's so much orange in this cup, and Dodoko looks like he's lying on top of white fluffy clouds. And the weather inside looks much better, too. Yummy! It's so delicious! Klee has to drink slowly. I can't just gulp it down, or I'll miss all the yummy flavor. Miss Honorary Knight, this is amazing! It's like you mixed sunshine with juice. Klee was so tired from playing, but now I feel refreshed. And warm. And peaceful. Ooh. You're the best, Miss Honorary Knight. Really? Let me think. When the weather's nice and Dodoko's happy, Dodoko will want to sing, right? And when Dodoko sings, Klee wants to sing too. So, let's call it Dodoko's Duet. Thank you! And thanks for making such a yummy drink for Klee. Klee's gonna go tell Mom that the best drink in Mondstadt right now is Dodoko's Duet. Klee's gonna write down Mom's incantation and give you a copy, Miss Honorary Knight. Then you should learn magic too, so you can make all the candies you want. See you next time!
So Hertha's even roped our honorary knight into helping with this little venture. Now that I'm finally free to relax, it's time to start doing just that. Can't wait to see your skills in action. Give me something that goes well with casual conversation, but still packs a punch. Of course they don't clash. A drink that packs a punch means you have to drink it slowly. And if you want to chat, then it has to go down smooth. So, something with a sweet aftertaste. A conversational connoisseur requires the perfect balance. The most suitable choice on this menu would be the Thorny Lake. It's a drink with a real kick that you can find in almost every bar. It's not enough to know the recipe, though. The key is in the mixing. Some bartenders choose to stick to the tried and tested basics, while others like to add their own personal flair. That's the spirit. Now, show me what you've got.
Grandmaster, I hereby present you with this Thorny Lake for your enjoyment and assessment.
Well, the color and aroma are certainly on point. But as for the balance of flavors, I'll just have to taste it and find out. Not bad. You haven't overdone or skimped on any single ingredient. Though, unfortunately, it's a little too, polite for my tastes. Perhaps I should have said modest. You followed the formula to a T, but if anything, you've played it a little too safe. Were you worried that deviating just a little might disappoint me? Hey, we fought side by side and dealt with things that even gods were loath to meddle with. Ours is a friendship forged in the margins between life and death. That said, if you ask me, you can ditch the nerves and work your mixologist magic. I'm looking for something that shocks the senses. Mull it over. There's no rush. We can chat while you think. Who knows? You might just find some inspiration to mix in with your magic. Ha! I like your style. Speaking of this garden, it brings back memories of something that happened many years ago. When I was young, I like to find ruined guards to test my fighting skills, both armed and unarmed. Once, I failed to take down a stray missile, and it ended up destroying a watchtower on the city walls. As punishment, I had to run 50 laps around the city, repair the watchtower, and help rebuild the shattered walls in this garden. Indeed, among the misadventures of my youth, this is one of the most memorable ones. Mostly because that day, Crepus saw me covered in dirt. He took 2 bottles of 100-year-old wine and sent D-Luke, who looked even younger than Mika does today, to work out a clever way to get rid of Faru, who was guarding me. It was so hot that day, I could swear I was about to pass out. On a whim, I picked some mint leaves, put them in one of the wine bottles, and the result turned out to be surprisingly tasty. After Crepus tried it too, he was full of praise. He even wrote up an official recipe for my spontaneous creation. His customers loved it. Several summers passed, and Crepus kept writing letters about giving me a share of the profits, as though I could possibly accept. Yes, good old Crepus. Faru retired years ago, but he still gives me a stern stare every time we meet. He's a stubborn one. D-Luke, who replaced him, and then Kaya, who took over later, both performed impeccably. Changing times will always belong to the youth. He should have admitted defeat long ago. When I get the chance, I'll have Kaya show him the amazing progress the cavalry company has made. Well, let me think. I guess you could say it lacks impact. Even when following the same recipe, the techniques used to mix different ingredients can affect the taste. Sometimes, deliberately creating layers between spirits can bring out the different waves as each one hits the taste buds in sequence. In this regard, too, you've taken quite a tentative approach. Why not be a little bolder? Ha ha ha. You catch on quickly. No need to explain further. It's a treasured place that the Knights of Favonius have maintained for years, so it makes sense that it's become the go-to location for organizing such things. I heard that while the expedition was underway, you were a great help in giving those left behind the opportunity to put their energy to good use. Sometimes, I look through the photos I've been given from those events, though unfortunately, there aren't enough to include everybody. My conclusion is that Mondstadt needs to do more to popularize the camera. Pretty awesome, huh? It's like a hammerhead that you can fill with wine when you're not using it to pound in nails. It was a gift. Hoffman came up with the idea, Charles supplied the design, Wagner helped cast it, and about 10 or so knights chipped in to pay for the materials. They've been waiting to have a good drink with me, and this is my crucial weapon to aid me in a fair duel with them all. I'm the Grand Master, after all. I've been drinking a lot longer than them. I've practiced more assiduously, and I have a bit more, meat to absorb the blows. So it's only fair to my subordinates that I drink a teensy bit more per round. Wouldn't you agree? Of course, some of them have been training as long as I have, and those ones won't be getting any special treatment. Take Hazelnut 3 and Hazelnut 5, for example. Both were skilled warriors who helped me deal with Eric back in the day, Nowadays, I have them helping Jean with miscellaneous duties. At today's after-work cooldown, they insisted on trying to keep pace. In the end, they lost our game of darts and ended up passed out on the floor. I've already told Jean that I won't be approving their leave request for tomorrow, no matter what. If I were in charge of organizing events, well, I suppose everyone would revolve around fine wine, or at the very least, there would be some sort of tasting involved. For example, we could go all in on this drink stand and open it to the whole city, with every company of the night selecting one or more mixologists to compete against each other. It's only a thought. Can't let things get too out of hand. If I were to actually throw a grand banquet, Jean would come after me with her sword drawn. Even Frederica would launch a punitive expedition. While in Nodcry, we had a rule that knights must never get drunk while at their posts. Otherwise, it could lead to dereliction of duty, with serious consequences. Exactly. As expedition members return to their companies, my hope is that this rule will gradually spread to everyone in Mondstadt too. Just like firewater and smetana, these Nodcry delicacies have made their way into Mondstadt's households and become part of people's daily lives. Young people need to learn restraint. At the end of the day, no one should be biting off more than they can chew. Unless it's someone near my level, they shouldn't even be thinking about enjoying a light buzz when they've still got work to do. Most people would just end up a whole lot drunker than they'd like. You should come practice with me on weekends. Trust me, once I've drunk them under the table, they'll be swearing off wine for a whole week. Huh? Oh, feel free. Whatever you're about to do, I've got a feeling I've hit the jackpot.
Here you go, Grandmaster. A cocktail just for you. I guarantee you won't find this one too polite.
Such a spirited drink. How did you make this? Well, that burning scent of firewater. Oh, it's as if the very air were about to ignite. This is more like it. Perfection. It's clear that once you let go of your inhibitions, Your talents really shine through. That first hint of mint is like a cooling feint that masks the firewater underneath. By the time the sweetness dissipates, the firewater has already slipped in behind your guard, ready to deliver a powerful strike of intense flavor. Oh, it's exactly the impact I was hoping for. That's the most ingenious part. Firewater's greatest flaw is a lack of aftertaste, but the Smelana perfectly maintains the flavor at the peak of its intensity. It's hard to imagine something this good was created by a mixologist who doesn't even drink firewater. I think it has the potential to become a firm favorite in Mondstadt and Nodcry. Iron Wolf. Oh, perfect. It's elegant, yet wild. Only you could come up with such a fitting name. Oh, I have an idea. Why don't we name our Knights of Favonius' drink stand after you? Let's call it the Honorary Knights Cocktail Shack. No time to waste. I'll go have a word with Glenfiddia right away.
Hey there, traveler! All wrapped up for the day? Paimon hears you did a great job holding down the fort while she was out delivering drinks with Glenfiddia.
Whatever the reason, the Honorary Knight is clearly one of the most talented mixologists in Mondstadt. Considering how short a time she's been doing this, I believe that someday she has the potential to give the legendary bartender at the Cat's Tail a run for her money.
I fully support your decision, Grandmaster. The Honorary Knight has really put in the hard yards. The drink stand will remain open for a little while longer to provide a proper welcome to our returning expedition members. Then, once we locate suitable premises, we also plan to look at operating a permanent service.
Hooray! Everyone in the Knights of Favonius will get to drink all the delicious cocktails they like!
Nothing short of what I'd expect from a true disciple of Hertha. You've really considered this thoroughly, Glenfiddia.
Also, if I may, Honorary Knight, regarding the special cocktails you've developed, would you mind leaving the recipes with us? We'd like to add them to the official menu.
Paimon feels like there's something you still want to say. Let Paimon have a guess. Based on your personality, you probably want to introduce the origin of each different cocktail. That way, customers will know who inspired you to create these amazing drinks.
No problem at all. If you need, I can even have someone draft the paperwork on your behalf to secure you the rights to these new recipes.
I hope when we recruit some new bartenders, they'll be able to learn from your incredible skills. Even if they can't quite match your work, if they could be 2/3 as good, that would still make them industry leaders.